Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. If you're new, I'm Kelly. This is KBellaBeauty, and I'm sorry if I feel like I'm kind of whispering. I'm pretty sure my husband is in the room right behind me sleeping, and I have Royce sleeping on the floor, and I'm pretty sure Bentley's probably sleeping in the other room too. So I find myself like trying to talk quietly, but also project so you guys can hear me. Today's also a little bit of a crazy hair day, so hopefully you don't mind that. That's not why you are here. You are here because I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the No7 Stay Perfect foundation. I'm also going to have a little bit of a demo so you can see how the foundation applies on the skin. So if you're interested in checking out this foundation here, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the foundation while I'm applying it, and then we're going to end with my final thoughts on this product. Okay, so this is the No7 Stay Perfect foundation, and I got mine in the shade Warm Ivory. So on the back it does say, for best results, to shake before use, blend on smoothly and evenly with your fingers or a sponge, working downwards and outwards from the center of your face. So I'm gonna go ahead and shake it up, and I am going to use a damp beauty blender to apply it. So what I like to do is I typically put my foundation like on the back of my hand, and then I dot it around my face. So one thing I've noticed with this foundation is that it almost has like a little bit of a gray undertone. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it reminds me almost of the tone of the IT Cosmetics CC cream. It's just, I don't know what it is. Like, it's a little bit of a gray undertone, but the thing that I've noticed is when it dries, it doesn't dry graying. Because that was my first concern, is I was like, this is a warm shade and it looks gray. It looks cool toned. But when it dries, it does dry down and have like much more of a warm undertone. So this is really just how I apply my foundation. I just kind of dot it all on there. And then I'm gonna go in with my beauty blender, a little bit of Fix Plus, give it a spritz, and blend it in. So this is the No7 Stay Perfect foundation. It says that it's good for all skin types and that it's medium coverage. I do agree with that claim. It's not quite light coverage, but even when I build it up, I don't find that it gives me full coverage. So I think medium coverage is a good claim for this foundation. It does say that there is non-stop complexion perfection. For all day wear, there is sunscreen. It is SPF 15 and it's hypoallergenic. And of course you do get 1 fluid ounce, as you see in most foundations. On the back of the foundation, it claims that this foundation is long lasting for a naturally flawless complexion with super staying powder. This comfortable foundation feels lightweight and breathable and gives an even toned, smooth complexion. It can be relied on to stay perfect for up to 17 hours of wear. It's supposed to be weatherproof and transfer proof. It does say for best results you should shake the foundation before applying, and that you should blend it with either your fingers or a sponge. So as you can see, I am blending it in with my beauty blender that I sprayed with a little bit of Fix Plus. Now I did get the shade Warm Ivory, and I do not feel like this is the perfect shade for me. Now just to kind of let you know about my skin tone, I'm not sure what shade I would be in MAC. I cannot wear MAC foundations because they break me out, but like the Urban Decay Naked Skin foundation, I'm in the shade 3.0, and I do believe I'm in the shade Warm Nude in the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I could probably go down to vanilla, but Warm Nude suits me just fine as well. I have a really hard time finding drugstore foundations in my shade. I'm not the lightest shade, but I feel like for whatever reason drugstore foundations oxidize and give me a very orange tone that I don't like. Now this shade is Warm Ivory, and the only shade that I saw before this was Cool Vanilla, and Cool Vanilla is not going to work for me because it does have a cooler pinky undertone and my undertone is much more yellow and more warm toned. But I did notice that Warm Ivory does kind of pump onto my hand with a little bit of a grayish tone, but once applied on the face, I do notice that it warms up a bit. However, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is my perfect foundation shade, but I think that it's the closest that I'm gonna get in this specific foundation. Okay, so let's talk about my thoughts on this product. First of all, I do really like the packaging. It has like a matte finish on the foundation bottle. I really like the cap. It comes with a pump, which I find really helpful. So I definitely feel like the packaging is bomb for this to be a drugstore foundation. I picked mine up at Target and it was $15.99. So that is a little bit on the higher end for a drugstore foundation, in my opinion. I would kind of like to see my drugstore foundations maybe around the $10 range. So this one, it's kind of up there. Now, I am one that will splurge on high-end foundations because I feel like my base is really, really important to me. But the fact that this is $15.99, it kind of bothers me a little bit just because I can't find my perfect shade. That's the problem here. So I don't know if you guys can tell on camera, but just by looking at myself, I just applied this foundation and I can already see that it's oxidizing a little bit. I do bring my foundation down onto the neck, but I do find that this does oxidize with kind of like a pinky orange undertone. As far as the wear goes, okay, so I'm so torn. I'm so torn on this foundation because I feel like the wear is flawless. I almost feel like it has like a satin finish. It's not matte and it's not drying on my dry skin, but it also doesn't look like I have a luminous primer underneath. And I don't, but it's not a luminous foundation. It almost gives me like a satin velvety finish, which I really, really like. I do find that it's long wearing. I do find that it doesn't break up on my skin. It doesn't accentuate any dry patches, and it doesn't feel drying on the skin. It feels pretty lightweight for it to be a medium coverage foundation. But the drawback is that I can't find the right shade. I don't know if this foundation has more shades online. I picked mine up at Target, like I said, and it was either Cool Vanilla, the Warm Ivory, or then it was some other shade that would have definitely been too dark on me. And so the Cool Vanilla was definitely too cool tone, too pinky, but this also isn't the right shade either. So I keep going back and forth on what I'm gonna do about this foundation. The reason why I picked this foundation up was because it was very raved about on YouTube, and I can see why. Like, if you can find your shade, it does wear very, very beautifully. And honestly, if this was a $10 foundation or an $8 foundation, I probably wouldn't mind. But the thing that bothers me about this foundation is that it's $15.99 and it's not the right shade for me. So I have gone back and forth so many times. I'm really not sure if I'm going to keep this, if I'm going to return it, because I love the finish, I love the wear, I feel like it looks really nice, but the fact that I can see the different tones on my skin, that is what bothers me. So, would I recommend this? If you can find your shade, I would recommend this foundation. I think you would really like it. I don't think that it matters if you have dry skin or oily skin because it's not picking up on my dry patches, but it's also not sitting very luminous on the skin either. So I feel like it would be good for all skin types. It does have a nice lasting power, but the shade range is just not what I would like to see, if you know what I mean. So I would recommend this if you can find your correct shade, but as far as it goes for me, I am kind of leaning toward returning this because of the oxidation and the fact that I can see the different colors on my neck. I've almost debated on keeping this to see if it fits me more in the summertime, but I don't spend a lot of time out in the sun and I don't self-tan. So because of the high price tag, this is probably a foundation that I will return. I would much rather spend my money on a higher end foundation that I know I can get an exact match on. That's gonna do it for this review, guys. Short and sweet. If you tried this foundation out, I would like to know what you think in the comments down below. Could you find your shade? What is your shade? Did you like the lasting power? Like, would you recommend this for people who could find their right shade? And what do you guys think about the price? $15.99 for a drugstore foundation? I don't know how I feel about that. I just personally feel like that's a little bit overpriced for the drugstore when you can get like $20 and $30 foundations at Sephora. So that is my opinion. Those are my thoughts on the number 7 Stay Perfect foundation. If you did enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe on your way out. I do post for sure twice a week, on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. CST and Saturdays at 11 a.m. CST, but I have been able to throw up a third bonus video on either Mondays or Tuesdays, and that goes up at 5 p.m. CST. So as long as you're subscribed, you'll be able to be notified when I do post new videos. You can also follow me on Instagram at KBellaBeauty and Twitter at KBellaBeautyXO. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.